resolved. They're working very hard. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yesterday, Jared Kushner said the notion of the federal stockpile was it's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then use. What did he mean by our?
Oh, what are you asking?
And given the fact that taxpayers from
What's
every
that?
state pay
I got you.
for it.
You
No,
use
it's
the
not a
word
gotcha.
our.
What do
Our,
mean
you know what
by
our means? United States of America. That's what it means. It means
the states.
our. It means the United States of America. And then we take that our and we distribute it to the states.
So why did
Not
you say
that we
it's
have
not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then
because we
use?
need it for the government and we need it for the federal government. But when the states are in no, to also keep
Giving it to if it's not to the states.
to keep for our country, because the federal government needs it too, not just the states. But out of that, we oftentimes choose, as an example, we have almost 10,000 ventilators, and we are ready to rock with those ventilators. We're going to bring them to various areas of the country that need them. But when he says our, he's talking about our country. He's talking, excuse me, he's talking about the federal government. I mean, it's such a basic, simple question, and you try and make it sound so bad. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know what? You ought to be ashamed. It's such a simple question. He said our, and our means for the country, and our means for the states because the states are a part of the country. Don't make it sound bad. Don't make it sound bad. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, back here. You just asked your question. You just asked your question in a very nasty tone. Let's go.
You didn't give me an answer.
Please.
Mr. President,
I gave you a perfect answer. You know it. Go ahead.
well, just to follow up on that, when we have the federal stockpile, I mean, isn't that designed to be able to distribute to the states?
Sure, but it's also needed for the federal government. We have a federal stockpile, and they have state stockpiles. And frankly, many of the states were totally unprepared for this. So we had to go into the federal stockpile. But we're not an ordering clerk. They have to have for themselves. Now, some of the states were in good shape. Some of the states were not in good shape. That's probably something you could expect. We have been helping states. We have been spending a tremendous amount of time, effort, and billions of dollars on making sure that they have what they have. I mean, take New York. We built them hospitals. I built them 4 hospitals, built them medical centers, sent a ship with 1,000 rooms and 12 operating rooms. And then on top of that, gave vast numbers of ventilators and vast numbers of surgical gowns, equipment, masks, everything else. Now, they had a chance to order ventilators over the years. They had a chance to order a very big, but they didn't choose to do it. We were there and we helped them. And I think the governor of New York is very thankful for the help that we gave. But we have a stockpile. It's a federal stockpile. We can use that for states or we can use it for ourselves. We do use it for the federal government. We have a very big federal government. Go ahead.
Have you decided not to use your powers to be essentially a traffic cop for all the essential medical supplies that are needed?
We're not a traffic cop. We're a humanitarian cop. We help. It's like the ships. Do you think we wanted to take 2 big ships into our country that have obvious problems, and you know the problems I'm talking about? So I have a decision to make. Do I take them in or do I save lives? Okay? Do I take them in or do I save? I decided to take them in. And we have tremendous protection. We have great doctors there to help the people. They had 4 or 5 people that died. That was as of last night. They died on the ships. We took care of it. And now the people are in the process of, and many are already back in Canada, they're back in the UK, United Kingdom, and many of them were American citizens. Some were very sick. We're taking care of the sick people. We're testing all of the others very, very carefully, very, very carefully. They are being tested like you wouldn't believe. And we solve a humanitarian catastrophe. You know why? Because nobody else would take the ships. Nobody else would take them. So we docked them in, I think, Fort Lauderdale.
Why you don't say we're the federal government and there's a shortage of masks and other things, and we're going.
We do say that. We say and we use the act. Excuse me. We do say that, and we use the act, and we've used it a number of times very powerfully. And a lot of times we don't have to use it because we say we're going to use it if you don't do this or that. And then we also have companies that act incredibly well. We have plenty of them, mostly them. But we've used the act very powerfully. And a lot of times you don't have to exercise the act. All you have to do is tell them, look, if you don't do this, we're going to use the act. And we've done a good job with it, maybe a great job. Yeah.
Mr. President, there are news reports